Fårup Sommerland is Denmark's most northern theme park, located all the way at the very top of the country, just off the coast of the North Sea. The closest big city to this is Aalborg, sorry if I mispronounced that. But the park is pretty much in the middle of nowhere. You're literally driving through fields, and then you just see a theme park off in the distance next to some giant windmills. The whole place is nestled in the trees. Fårup Sommerland is heavily wooded, and it is such a cool vibe. It's very different from almost any other park that I've seen. We had just done Djurs Sommerland the day before. It's less than a 2-hour drive away, and I hadn't done a ton of research before going to Fårup Sommerland, but I expected a similar vibe to Djurs Sommerland. Boy, was I surprised. I thoroughly enjoyed both these locations for completely different reasons. The park is home to 8 roller coasters. Their most notable attraction is Fønix. That's a new for 2022 Vekoma Wildcat. Really awesome ride. That was the big reason why we wanted to visit this park. I have a full separate review already up on this channel of that attraction, so please go check that out if you want to hear an in-depth look at what to expect with that ride. We'll also have cool roller coasters such as Orkanen, that's a Vekoma family suspended coaster. Falcon is an S&S wooden coaster. Lynette is a Gerstlauer Eurofighter. And they also have rides like a spinning Wild Mouse. Kitty coaster, Vekoma family boomerang, you get the point. So this is going to be my full in-depth review of the entire park. I spent a full day here, got to experience a lot more than just the roller coasters. So I'll give my overall thoughts as well as some tips of some things you should do. First thing I really want to cover though is how you actually get into this park, because this is pretty unique. Unlike most theme parks, you scan your park ticket at the toll booths, and then once you park your car, you just walk in. There's a formal entrance, but there are no ticket booths there. So once you're on property, you're all good to go. This means that you don't have to pay for parking because your park tickets act as your parking ticket. I can't say I've seen that done anywhere else. And I just thought that was really cool. The parking lot is located kind of in the center of the park, with the actual theme park forming a U around it. You have this really pretty front entrance. I love the architectural style that they went with here. These red wooden buildings. It keeps with the whole theme that you're out in the forest. So a lot of the theming here is inspired by like farming, big barns and sheds. It is overall one big cohesive theme as opposed to a place like Djurs Sommerland that has specific themed areas. So that's why I say it feels very different, but it's a great vibe. You're literally walking through a forest and you won't see like any rides, but then as you keep going, different attractions start appearing and you don't really know when the park is gonna end. You just keep walking and things just show up. It's really cool. This whole park is one big discovery experience because you can't really see most of the rides until you get there, just because of how tall the trees are. But upon walking around, I could immediately tell that this was a very popular location for families, even though it was seemingly in the middle of nowhere. There are a bunch of kids. People brought their dogs in the park. Yeah, that's a thing. You can also bring your own food and have like a barbecue. They have grills set up. But of course, they also have like multiple restaurants in the park. We chose to eat at a food court that was near the front. It had a variety of options like Mexican food, Asian, burgers, and some locations in the park were more typical theme park food than others. They had a place that was very much in the style of like McDonald's with burgers, fries, nuggets, that sort of thing. Some of the burgers we saw were actually themed to some of the rides, which I thought was a fun little added bonus. I also thought it was pretty interesting. They had a Coca-Cola store here. You don't even really see that at like US theme parks. So that was a total like, what moment? So I'll get into some of the attractions. I mentioned all the different roller coasters that they had. It's a very well-rounded collection. Definitely something for everybody. I wouldn't say any of the rides here are just like absolutely insane. Like Fønix is really good, but you can still put kids on it and they'll enjoy it. Like you won't find any like hyper or giga coasters here. These really huge attractions. There's no drop tower. Like in terms of flat rides, I'd say the main one they have is over by Lynette. That's in the style of like a typical Frisbee. More often than not, the non-roller coaster experiences are not in the form of rides, but just overall attractions. Like you can go canoeing here or paddle boating on one of the bodies of water. There are literally 3 different boating experiences here. Much like Djurs Sommerland, there are trampolines and climbing structures everywhere. And sometimes you'll find entire walkthroughs in the middle of the forest where you're like climbing up ladders, going across platforms, through the trees, down slides. It was so cool, very unique. I don't think I've seen that done like anywhere else. You also find like a really awesome fun house here. This is something that we didn't even know existed. We just saw a bunch of families like going in this building and we're like, all right, let's see what this is. And there were a bunch of these like spinning platforms, tilted rooms, some awesome lighting, just really great stuff. It's hidden gems like that that really make me appreciate like the overall park atmosphere. Fårup Sommerland was just overall very lively. The families are having a good time, and you know what? So are the employees. All of the ride operators we met were so nice. Very, very kind people that work here. And the operations were also super fast. But they're like having fun with it too. One of the staff members at Orcanon had a water gun and was squirting people in line. It was like totally harmless, but it was hilarious. And all of the lines were so manageable. We had no problem getting everything done in the full day, but I really do recommend spending an entire day here, just so that you really have time to explore. Fårup Sommerland is definitely set up to be a full day destination, maybe even a 2-day destination. There's literally a water park right next door that has a looping water slide. It's included with admission, but we elected not to do it just because we stayed in the dry park. They do have an on-site hotel right next door that you could walk to. You don't even have to go through the park's like main entrance to get there. So that's an extra incentive to stay on site. I know that was something we were originally looking at doing, but it was on the pricier side, so we chose to stay instead on an Airbnb nearby. But I know that one day I want to go back here, and I think staying on site would be pretty freaking cool. So definitely something I would say keep in mind if you're planning a visit. So just kind of wrap things up here. This was a park that I didn't know a whole lot about going in. It wasn't even ever on my radar until they built Fønix. But after visiting, I'm so glad we went here. This park really is a hidden gem. I know it's not the most convenient to get to, but if you get the chance to visit, I absolutely recommend it. There's so much to see and do. The park is absolutely huge, and it seems so experience focused. Like there literally is a little bit of everything here. I think that's one of the biggest differences between like European theme parks and theme parks in America. Fårup Sommerland has so much more than just rides, and everything is included with park admission. Once you're there, you're good to go. So let me know down in the comments below if you've been to Fårup Sommerland in northern Denmark, if you agree with the points that I brought up, if you think there's anything I left out, let me know, and be sure to share your experience. And of course, if you're new to the channel, we'd love if you could subscribe. We do roller coaster and amusement park reviews from places all across the world, and we still have a lot more coming. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.